Hi, and welcome to the very first episode of Starthclyde Stories. If you're wondering how to apply to Strathclyde and having challenges like where to start your application, how to go about your process, which program might be the right program for you, or how to finance your tuition fees, all this and many more questions we want to answer with the Strathclyde Stories podcast. Today, in this very first episode, I have an esteemed guest with me, Nithi Sevaguru, who happens to be Starthclyde alumni and leadership coach. Plus, he does help students like you to help you go to the university, which is the prestigious one in UK and Scotland. So, let me quickly connect with Nidhi and get started with the first episode. Hi Nidhi, welcome to the very first episode on Starthclyde Stories. I'm glad you joined with me. Could you give us a brief introduction about your connection with Starthclyde and what are you currently doing now?
Oh, brilliant. Thank you very much, Cherag, for that invite and to be the very first person on this podcast on Strathclyde. Pleasure indeed. Well, I graduated from Strathclyde back in 96. Sounds like an ancient graduate, but it also does say that the university has definitely grown in its own ways from the time it began. My story began in 96. Currently, I am involved in leadership training programs. I do content development for trainings which are related to mid and senior level managers, and I'm also, of course, involved as a career coach and talking to even people who are in the employed sector who want to make a shift in their careers and so on and so forth. So it's not just for those who are thinking about starting their careers. So I do have conversations along those sides, and I'm also a kind of a certified coach in careers as well. So this is what I do predominantly.
Great. What you're doing right now as a coach and also helping students who want to start their application. It's also quite interesting. I think you're one of the most experienced Start alumni I've ever come across. I mean, 20 plus years it is.
Well, yes, indeed. Well, thanks for reminding me my age as well in the meantime. And yes, of course, indeed, it's been a long time. And of course, my association with Strathclyde has not just been with graduation in 96, has been with continual visits as well. It has also been with my presence in the UK 20 years after graduation, where we celebrated the 20th anniversary with a lot of fellow classmates of mine getting together. So I think we've kind of been in a community, I would say. It's not just like a detachment after graduation. We had a lot of attachment after graduation. And don't forget, of course, this is back in 96 when we hardly had any emails. And I think there were some whispers emails were coming out. And we only had our mobile number or even our landline numbers to exchange. So that was the situation then. But sure enough, it's a community that we have been able to create over the years. And I'm also a founder member of the South India Alumni chapter of Strathclyde. And so it's a long story. For me, it's not just a graduation from the university, but a continual kind of support and guidance. And that I've been involved in a number of things with Strathclyde. So I think my marriage has been quite long lasting with Strathclyde.
That's great to hear that it's very long association with Strathclyde. I mean, it gives you, a great puts you in a great position to understand the in and out or intricacies about, how to go about making not just making about the application, but how to survive through the Strathclyde journey and make it to the world.
Indeed.
So let's go back to your Strathclyde journey and let me ask you one question, which most of our listeners and viewers would have. What are the top three reasons why you chose to go Strathclyde?
Right. I have to go back to 96 or 95 to answer this question, but Let me say, well, if I were to look at it in terms of the top three reasons as of then, surely it's the award-winning excellence of the university as being number one. And second, of course, is the high ranking it has in technology and business. And of course, is the prime location of the university right in the heart of the city, which is the business center of Scotland. I would say that these definitely are the top three reasons I definitely picked up Strathclyde on back in 95. But I think the reasons can actually be far more than three, but you restricted me with three. So I would say that would certainly be the reasons that I had chosen then.
Great. So I got these three reasons. Could you, let me know what other reasons did you happen to choose Starthclyde?
Well, I think the idea at my time of my choosing of the university was that I could basically look into one which is highly ranked in the UK. At the same time, I'd also be interested to know what's the presence of the university outside of the UK, because I think that's very important to me. And I felt that at that point in time, I was located in Malaysia, and I started looking at a university which had rather a global presence. And the Strathclyde really topped the list. And I think they still top the list because I think they are very much now in presence in the Middle East. They are in the Far East, and they're spread quite well in Europe as well. So I think the presence of the university internationally for me was the core. And I think they are even more connected now than before. And that certainly was one of the main reasons. And of course, the business schools have always been ranked very well. And it's still ranked very well, very consistently ranked in the top 10 odd business schools. So I think those are really something that I took to my heart in making the decision. And also, of course, to me, location was primary reason. I didn't want to have a lifestyle where I'm just going to see students everywhere, all around 360 degrees where I turn. I also wanted to see public life. I wanted to see people in all walks of life. And believe me, it was a perfect decision because that's the mixture that you get right in the heart of Glasgow. And that was beautiful. Really a lovely experience.
Yeah, I mean, so many good things to share and say about this university. It's a very prestigious one and global presence, and got, I would say a lot of other reasons which are very valid for anybody to choose for this university. Now, let me ask you one thing which is going to be very interesting. I just want to know, let's say I'm someone who's unfamiliar, like our audience would be, most of the audience would be, who are very unfamiliar with this university, right? Can you just describe this university in, let's say, in one sentence? I know it's going to be tough, but would you?
Well, honestly speaking, there could be many people who are unfamiliar about the university, but believe me, the employers are very familiar with the university. So they wouldn't be Googling to find out where the university is before they pick up your CV. Honestly, that's not be the case. So to be very clear and precise, I would say global presence and reputation is fabulous for Strathclyde. So even if you as a student are not aware about the university, just close your eyes and go. I would say the employers have it.
Yeah, that was a good one. I mean, I was just itching to say this, but yeah, even if I don't know about the university, the employers know about the university. It has a great reputation and global presence. Yeah, I mean, close your eyes and go. I totally agree to what you're saying because it comes from, the experience you get when you step out of the world from the university and you say that you're from South and you say, oh, yeah, great university. It's something like that, right?
Yes. That's true.
Now I'm going to ask you to go back to day one of your South University day. You said that you went from Malaysia at that point in time. And right, so you arrive at the university as an international student. I'm not sure how did you, felt that day, the day you were trying to, adjust to the university life coming from some remote land. You were like a stranger that land, and How was that experience? Was that like butterfly in tummies? Was that like reality shock or some kind of shock? Generally, right? What did you experience that day?
Well, I think my experience was probably not very far from many others coming from different parts of the world, especially they're coming from Asia, because we are talking about a completely new experience. To me, it was the unfamiliar grounds with regard to the place that I was going to. And one thing, of course, that made me very much attached and very quickly get acclimatized to Scotland was the friendliness of the people. Because this, for me, was very welcoming. It was like you could stop anybody anywhere and just say, I'm lost and I want to know, how do I get. They are extremely very friendly. You would not see somebody not friendly at all when they give you answers. And of course, the campus right in the heart of the city, as I said before, was also a beautiful experience. That something was very new to me as well. And I wanted to experience that. So I think the shocks will be there for everybody, but I think it will be nice shocks eventually when you look back.
Okay, great. We come from some completely different culture, diverse environment. Can you tell me about like what were the big surprises or challenges you had had to go through in your initial days?
Well, as far as challenges go, I think it's the one thing is, of course, you're in a lost world because you don't have your family with you. You have left them all, and you are just in a strange land. And then you begin to learn, and that's when you realize that you are finding so many people in the same situation, and you've got so many shoulders to cry on, and others cry on your shoulders as well. And you kind of start experiencing, oh God, it's not far from what I'm feeling, is exactly what the other person is feeling as well. But I think you get onto it very quickly. And yeah, sure, the Scottish accent is something that comes to you as something very interesting. So yeah, you got to put your ears almost, right near the mouth of someone who's talking before you understand what they're saying. Yeah, you get used to all of that, and it's just so much of fun. Weather is, of course, the other thing which could come as a shock to some people because it's rather pretty cold in Scotland. So that's again something that you kind of get used to it. And in about a matter of, few weeks, you realize that, your skin is getting a tone to it. So fine. So I think these are, in a way, you could call them challenges, you can call them exciting, you can call them adventurous. It really depends on in which mindset you look at this, right? But for someone who wants to experience something new, they will call this as an adventure. For someone who just wants to experience exactly what they experienced at home, then for them it's a shock. So it really depends on how one looks at it.
Yeah, I mean, great way to put this. I mean, instead of challenge, I would say it's a learning, as you said, like you'll feel a great experience you're going to have. So you got to used to it. It would take a little time, but these are something good things coming in your way. This is what I can understand from your conversation. Now, I'm just asking you a very connected question. I would say, which is following up what you just said. How about Glasgow? What was that feeling about Glasgow that you felt that, okay, this is very welcoming and I can just, settle myself in with the Glasgow because the university happens to be within the city limits. It's not something off campus. You go off to a completely remote place and, get into the university and you're logged in and you take, whatever mode of transport to reach to the city and have your, daily needs or requirements fulfilled. So it happens to be in the city itself. So I just want to know what was something which was welcoming because you become a part of the city where you're in campus or off campus, you want to be part of the city and, mix with the people in there. So how was it? How was it in Glasgow?
Yeah, well, just as you were asking that question, it was actually coming to my mind as to a reflection on what my own experience was. When you come out of your university accommodation, unlike in a campus university where you are likely to see everyone who is a student, you
Okay.
don't kind of a conclusion. You can't make that conclusion because the moment you're out of your building and you take a few steps into the road, you're probably seeing some CEO or a manager walking across and going into his or her office while you are walking a little bit further down to get into the business schools building. And what's very exciting about this is that you start feeling real nice about, hey, that's going to be my way of life tomorrow when I graduate. You don't feel like you are a part of one community, and then in order to see the world, you got to take a bus and go to the city and see real people. I mean, here you see real people along with you. I mean, that's something that I found as really, really exciting, right? And if you were to walk into any store, whether it is a supermarket or whether it's a bank or whatever, you're not just seeing students, you are seeing members of the public, right? And that's making you really feel that, you could very well be in a corporate life, just studying part-time, maybe. You could even have that kind of a feeling. I think it's a great feeling. The campus along in a main city is really very exciting. And that was definitely a perfect decision for me, I would have thought.
So it just gives you a great kind of outlook and wholesome experience rather than being disconnected, because as you're saying, you're in and out of campus and you're experiencing the complete life instead of, just disconnected and staying afar and just have to take some sort of transport to be in your, city routine or experiencing the city or whatever, right? Okay, so let's move on to the next one. I would like to ask you the question which most of our listeners or viewers might have on their mind is that what kind of opportunities do we get as a student at Strathclyde University?
Strathclyde University has expanded its programs very largely in business as well as in the sciences. I'd say it's one of the biggest opportunities sits in the entrepreneurship cell, which is under the Hunter School of Management. The other one is, of course, the Technology Innovation Center, which is fabulous advancement from its non-existent state back in my time to present time. And of course, thirdly, the research and collaboration with the industry. I would say that these are the key pointers for looking into the opportunities of what Strathclyde has to offer.
Great. So could you shed some light on the industry and the university connect?
For sure. Just to expand a little bit about the entrepreneurship cell, and I think the Hunter School of Management is something very exciting where if you're a graduate of Strathclyde, not just during the time of your studies, even post your studies, you could always start a new business. You can always pitch in for a possible funding, and you could always be at the university, and all you have to say is you are one of the graduates and you would like to have a new setup and you need an X amount of money. And if that all sounds good, you can always pitch yourself and ask for funds. So it's something exciting. And it's not just something that's going to happen during the year. It could even happen after 3 or 5 years of your graduation. You are allowed to do that. And that's something very unique about that. The other is the Technology Innovation Center, where there is a huge collaboration with the corporates. And a number of incubations are happening throughout the year. Researchers, people from the industry, university researchers in the industry, and also the other way around. Huge amount of work that's actually happening in this area, in all of those spaces, and that's definitely there. The way in which universities currently is operating is through industry collaborations. So it's not just a degree as in degree for theoretical reasons, but it is also for practical reasons. So the kind of courses that the Strathclyde offers now is quite amazing. That are all the needs for the industry today, whether it's got to do with sustainability and environment and all sorts of things which are of the present. Energy and you name it. It's all about futuristic. It's not doing any traditional degrees anymore. It's about in what way can I make a difference to the corporate world? And I think all of these are certainly there. So the opportunities are sitting there. I think what I would simply tell a student is make sure you grab it, right? It's sitting there. Don't wait for it to come close to you and knock your door and say, I'm waiting for you, because that doesn't happen. You have to go and grab it and utilize it and make sure you get the best of your return on investments.
Great. I mean, things which I would say to put in perspective is you have, something for a better future and to create a better world. You have courses for that. And with empowering yourself with those courses, you're joining some of the best companies in the world which are trying to do that, right? To sum it up, I would say. Now, asking a question which is going to be very relevant to your alumni network. As you said that you were one of the, founder of SAT's South Indian chapter. How does the alumni network help?
Well, I've always been a great believer that alumni are an important and integral part of the growth of a university. I've always believed in that. And right now, what we are really doing as members of the Strathclyde South India chapter alumni is we are growing our numbers. We are talking to prospective students, whether they are from the corporate sector or whether they are from fresh graduates. We have got people from all walks of discipline with us. You name it, we have them. Whether you're looking for a marketing specific graduate or you're looking for a sustainability graduate, we have them all. So we could definitely connect with the right people and you can have a conversation. And most of our alumni, in fact, I would say all of them, are very happy to talk about how their careers have unfolded since the time they graduated and what they are doing now. And if there is another new opportunity that's opening up in the industry that you can actually jump into and do a study program in. So I think it's very important to understand from alumni how they A, benefited, and B, of course, what they are currently doing and what opportunities are there for the future. So you can then...
All right, great. Now, moving to the next question, what is that one piece of advice would you like to give out to the listeners and viewers of this podcast who are gonna, start their application?
Well, all your concerns and worries have really been our experiences. This is exactly where the alumni can be of great help to you. So you may have already chosen a career path, or you may be still confused about your career path, or you might want to just reconfirm your career path. I think for all of these reasons, the alumni will come of great help to you. And I think that's exactly where we come in and have conversations with you. Once you've got that part of it right, the application process is a simple one. Entry requirements, of course, is another part of the story, which universities are insisting on. But besides that, I think the wealth of information is actually sitting with the alumni. So just tap on that. Just as I said before, the university is there for you to grab a lot of opportunities that they are offering for you. We are also available here to grab us, to make use of us and take up a conversation before you make the application to Strathclyde.
All right, great. So thank you for sharing all that vital information which is required, to start someone with the Starthclyde application or to at least get started. One of the key thing here is, dear listeners and viewers, that you can connect and speak to Nithi Sevaguru if you want to start your application or if you are at the crossroads and how to go about your application, you can do that. So we're going to leave the call booking link in the description. You can always use that. Using that, you can always connect with alumni. Thank you for being part of this episode 1. I hope we had a great start to this. I'm looking forward to the next one with you, Nidhi. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure indeed.